All right, we have the Honorable Minister of Livestock Development, Dr. Idi Mukhtar Miha. Thank you so much for joining us, Honorable Minister.
Thank you. Good evening, Nigeria.
All right, let me start by commending your efforts, which we see almost on a daily basis, you moving across states to ensure that this ministry thrives based on what the Renewed Hope agenda has set for it. So tell us, what is the nation contending with at the moment in the livestock industry?
Thank you very much. It's public knowledge by now that the ministry was just created on precisely 9th, just precisely before 2024. We're just about 15, 16 months of age. However, since the creation of the ministry, we have done a lot of branding, moving about all over the geopolitical zones, talking to state governments, talking to private sector, ranging from fodder producers, commercial fodder cultivators, the red meat industry, the dairy sector, all animal species, including the Poultry Farm Association of Nigeria, those who are in apiculture, rabbitry, goat, sheep, large ruminants like cattle, people who are also engaged in rescuing donkeys, horses, as well as camels. So everything what I've mentioned about is what we've been doing, trying to wake up the sector, trying to also emphasize that, look, today there is a new sector that has been abandoned for the past 64 years until the federal government, under the able leadership of Mr. President, created this ministry to mainstream the livestock sector. We've done a lot of investigations, a lot of analysis, spanning probably in the last 20 to 30 years, every other document and policy issues that were done or pontificated on livestock. We reviewed them and have come out with what we call the National Livestock Growth and Relations Strategy, as well as also working with the International Livestock Research Institute of Nairobi in Kenya. We've come out with the National Livestock Master Plan. And these two documents are very, very fundamental in the transformation journey that we have embarked upon. And just like the writer said, we have now valued the livestock, the baseline of about $32 billion, and that we have a very, very aggressive and ambitious plan to grow this sector to $74 billion. Now imagine in a country, no matter what other resources you have, about $32 billion has been out of the formal economy. Imagine the number of animal resources we have in this country. Imagine the number of livestock markets we have in this country, about 815 livestock markets all over the country. Imagine the number of people driving their livelihoods from this sector. Imagine the potentials of this sector. Imagine the critical function of this sector. Yet, this sector has remained outside the formal arena until this ministry was created strategically by Mr. President. And that goes to show that really, if you look at other countries that are far less endowed than Nigeria in livestock resources, because they have been able to see, to get that wisdom, strategically to transform their livestock sector, is contributing much more to their GDP than the Nigerian part.
All right, Honorable Minister, if I'll come in there, the National Livestock Growth Acceleration Strategy, it's one designed, of course, to unlock this potential you're talking about and address challenges. But I'd like to hear, because Nigeria, the target of $74 billion, I would say that's ambitious but doable based on what you have stated. But if donors and partners have strategic roles to play to support the country harness this potential, what's the synergy you're getting?
Thank you very much. The strategy is structured in such a way that there's a role for the federal government in terms of policy direction, in terms of guidance, in terms of standards, in terms of regulation in the sector. Then, of course, the livestock resources and land resources are domiciled with the state government. So invariably, the state government also have very, very critical role to play in turning that strategy, into practical gains for the country. And since that strategy was launched, and don't forget that After we crafted the strategy, we had an opportunity to address the National Economic Council under the able leadership of Mr. Vice President. And that council approved the strategy. So that for us is a singular, most important political commitment that we have gotten. Now the governors of this country have all keyed into the strategy. Now beyond that again, we are not also leaving the third tier of government, the local governments. They also have a role to play. Because invariably, wherever you're going to have ranches, we're going to have communal ranches, we're going to have peri-urban producers, you're going to have small ruminant ranches, you're going to have whatever you want to have about animals, invariably they have to be domiciled in local governments. So they also have a role to play. Aside from that, there is also a huge opportunity for livestock, because livestock actually, I mean, for private sector are going to be basically the main drivers of this transformation. Remember, the entire livestock resources today are in private hands, whether peri-urban producers, modern ranchers, or pastoral owners, or other form of people who have some form of livestock or the other. So therefore, it is there. We have also seen, and of course we have gotten a lot of appetite, a lot of commitment from international development partners. And let me say this, only yesterday we had a very, very robust and productive discussions with African Development Bank. And this, for us, means a lot in driving this sector. So we have gotten this synergy. We have gotten almost all the multilateral organizations that are represented in this country have shown that appetite to work with us. Actually, for them, this has been the most singular, important step that has been taken by the federal government at the federal level in the creation of the Federal Ministry of Livestock Development. Remember, Nigeria is the largest market in Africa. We have the 5th largest livestock resources on the continent. And therefore, looking at our number, it means a lot for the multilateral organization. And also don't forget that in the recent past, we've had a lot of flashpoints arising between farmers and herders. Farmer-herder crisis, ignited because of competition, acute competition for resources. This ministry is saddled with responsibility of amicably settling that conflict, making sure that, look, this country belongs to all of us. Livestock, crop cultivation, there's a symbiotic relationship. So the fight today, we know the genesis of the fight, we know the root cause of that crisis, of that disharmony. We want to now come in and build peace, build bridges across these two vocational demographics. So, and that's what we've been doing. And along the line also, we have been able to also wake up the private sector. Today we have very, very strong commitment from the red meat industry, red meat sector, and we've been doing a lot of talking. We've been doing a lot of engagements with the international off-takers. Very recently, we sent a team to the United Arab Emirates. They have a very, very wonderful opportunity for the export of Nigerian meat, red meat, into the Gulf. We've also looking at other partners here in terms of dairy development. We have a large number of also foreign participants in the country. Okay. You can talk about Ala, you can talk about Nestle, you can talk about Freeland Campina, you can talk about Danone, and there are so many outside, and there are also a lot of local interests who also want to position themselves, to
align
take the pie
with Nigeria.
Yeah.
Fantastic. So we'll take a break, Honorable Minister. We'll pick up with the conversation. Do stay tuned. All right, Honorable Minister, I'm sure you're hearing positive reports across states on what the state governments are doing to support federal government's efforts. But I'd like to pick up with the vaccination distribution. We know that has been flagged off, but sustainability and effective distribution to the right beneficiaries is very important so that these farmers can have access to it. What is the ministry doing to ensure that?
Thank you very much, and thank you for those reports from all over the country. It actually gladdens my heart that there is an organic connect between what we are doing at the federal level and what is happening at the state level. Of course, we are part and parcel of the whole narrative. Now, if you look at the transformation we have embarked upon, if you ask me to order 3 top priorities, I will first of all talk about feed and fodder. Okay. Because that is basic. If you don't have feed and fodder sufficient enough for your livestock, you are not in livestock. Yeah. You should have sufficient feed and fodder no matter the season, whether dry season or wet season. And that is what we are emphasizing about. And that's why it is top of our priority. The second one is about breed improvement. Now, we've been with our own indigenous cattle from time immemorial. It's not their fault. It is our fault. We have not been able to, to deliberately improve their genetic potential. So this, again, is what we are looking at. And as of today, there are a number of, we have come up with some initiatives to establish 6 breeding centers across the country, covering all the species. So that means that we are going to leapfrog the productivity of animals from the current 2.5 to 3 liters per cow per day to 15, 20, 30, up to 50 liters per day, and that is achievable. We don't have to reinvent the wheel. It's about management, it's about getting the genetics, and then running along with it. Now, the third most important aspect is that issue of disease and health management. It is also very, very key. In fact, even if we have a good genetic breed, you also have sufficient feed and fodder. If your animals have these debilitating, diseases, they cannot, realize their genetic potential. So we are focusing on that. And as at today, I can confidently tell us that we have distributed about 27 million doses of vaccines across the country, covering anthrax, FMD, CBPP, Newcastle, rabies, and just mention them. So this was happening. And the distribution is not just taking vaccine boxes and then giving them to state governments. No, we take it to the last mile. We have calculated and also embedded in our strategy even stipends that we are going to give to those who are going to administer the vaccines. And once these vaccines are administered, they are uploaded onto an Android platform called Kobo Collect. So whatever is happening in Bayelsa, in Niger, in Sokoto, in Abuja, in Taraba, in Benue, anywhere else, once it is uploaded, we can now tell you that we have done that. Today, if you query the Kobo Collect application, for anthrax, we have done 11 million animals vaccinated in the country. So that is the way to go. And we are not resting on our house. This is a continuous process. And then also we have today, under the auspices of African Union, and then also, furthermore, under the auspices of Food Agriculture Organization, Nigeria is a very, very strong participant in the program of eliminating PPR worldwide, particularly in Africa, by 2030. We are playing along with that. I was in FNO headquarters, I spoke with the Director General, and we have keyed in, and they have recognized Nigeria's potential role in eradicating PPR that is debilitating the small ruminant sheep and goats all over Africa. We have probably one of the largest population of sheep and goats in the country, about 124 goats, 124 million goats, and about 70 million sheep. So you can see that population is large enough. And also simply because the sheep and goats, virtually in every family in the rural areas, you find sheep and goats playing very, very key role in livelihood for the keepers. So we are conscious of the role of sheep and goats in our economy, and we are targeting the elimination of PPR from our landscape. So you can see that we are really concerned about transboundary diseases, because we are surrounded by a number of other countries through whom we get a lot of animals imported into Nigeria. And because of that, just a second, because of that, the ministry identified about 11 international cattle corridors coming into this country. We have taken inventory of those, we have taken the coordinates, and we are going to build control posts along each of these roads to make sure that animals that are coming to the country are properly screened and they are given certificate of health before they move into the country. Otherwise, once we vaccinate here and vaccination is not done there, we are not safe. So we are conscious of this, and we are taking definite steps under the ECOWAS Transhuman Protocol to make sure that our national space is protected from transboundary animal diseases.
You know, it's good you mentioned the concerns and the fact that the ministry is putting a lot of attention for this disease control. So let's look at abattoirs. I know from reports there are reconstruction ongoing for some of the abattoirs, but the concern here, Honourable Minister, is the handling of this livestock we see there, the animals, so to say. What is your state in that?
Thank you. I actually have a report of a committee that we set up about last year about animal welfare and human treatment. And that report has come. We are studying the report, and very soon we will launch a national campaign awareness on humane animal handling. It is cruelty to animals, the way we handle animals in this country, from the transportation, from the density in a small truck, even people who are hawking birds, you know, they hold the legs and it's upside down. It's inhuman, it is cruelty to those birds, to those animals. We are coming with that, and we do believe that it requires a whole ecosystem change. The vehicles that we have today in this country, the articulated vehicles that we call trailers, they are meant for general merchandise. They are not meant to transport livestock, whether small or large. We are coming up with a customized wagon for the transportation of animals. Number two, we will also insist that those wagons will carry the capacity is recommended by the manufacturers. There will be no congestion, there will be partitioning, and the distances will also have to be limited. Number two, at the abattoir point, offloading and unloading is another point of concern for us. Now, here, the abattoirs must have in their lineage a properly constructed platform where animals can just walk from those trucks into a holding facility. But of course, the trucks we are recommending will come with a hydraulically operated ram. Animals can just walk into the truck without even being lifted, without being harassed, without being beaten, and then they can also walk out on their own. So that way, you find that the animal do not go in through any trauma, and in the transportation system that we have today, animals actually moving from point A to point B, they lose a lot of body weight. We call it morbidity. They lose a lot of some in fact moves, they lose as much as 20 kilograms. And that is a huge loss for the cattle merchant. So all these things have been mapped out, and we are coming out with a strategy to do some sensitization, stakeholder engagement with all the actors, with all the players, with all the value chain actors in the livestock sector, and make sure that we come up with a humane policy, a humane protocol for the treatment of animals, right from the livestock market to loading, transportation, offloading, and handling at the abattoir.
You know, Honorable Minister, we're rounding up, so in few seconds, I want to hear federal government's commitment to support this initiative you're talking about, because all the projects intertwined will require huge investments to be carried out. In few seconds.
In few seconds, the fact that Mr. President has created this ministry, we have continued to enjoy the political support of Mr. President and every principal staff of this administration. We have continued to enjoy the support of every state governor in this country. We have also gotten a lot of synergy from our international development partners as well as other private sector actors. Of course, yes, we have also enjoyed the support of very, very credible media organizations like the Nigerian Television Authority. I do remember the role this organization has been playing in ventilating out there into the public space the programs, the activities of the newly created Federal Ministry of Livestock. I mean, just look at the reports we have received from all over the country today. It cannot be better. So we are very grateful for this, and it has also helped us to change the narrative. Some of the organizations out there, they so emotionalize livestock. Here in NTA, we have seen people seeing beyond, you know, all those conflicts and trying to build bridges, trying to, you know, normalize, trying to heal the public space by projecting the positivities that are there in the livestock sector. That is the way to get. That is about nation building. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Honorable Minister, for those kind words to the Nigerian Television Authority. We'll continue to play our part, and of course, we commend your efforts for the good work you do out there. Keep it up.
Thank you, Nigeria.